The spot where in 1792 William Sutton, known as the Old Duke, built a wooden shack referred to as Duke's Folly. In 1798 it was replaced by a more permanent structure and is commemorated by a tablet in a nearby wall. At the same time, the Old Norse name South Hawes, meaning Sandhills, was discontinued and Southport was born.
I went to an all-boys school. You don't need to be bullied by one person in particular. You can be bullied by 15 people. Getting bullied has got a big open term on it. You can be bullied by 2 people. You can be bullied by 1 person. You can be bullied by 15. I wasn't bullied by 15 bullies. I was bullied by 15 people who were controlled by a bully. You know, the bully that controlled the 15 people, well, I could knock 7 colours of shit out of him. But he was no one without the rest of his crew. But I was never scared of him, and the only way that they found any sort of power over me or a couple of friends I had was the fact that they were mob-handed. You take your reputation for fighting from a junior school to a senior school, sort of high school, and your reputation stays with you. So there's challenges around every corner. There's always someone to sort of challenge you. Normally, one-on-one, I'd win my fight, get on with my life, move on down the corridor sort of thing, and then it wouldn't be a one-on-one anymore. It would be whoever you've had a fight with, it'd be them and the mates that would come and give you a good kicking. After I left school, I put a lot of weight on, grew bigger, stronger, turned into a young man. I was no longer a child. I was more of a young adult. So, yeah, I could fight. I was fast. I knew how to hit, and I could hit hard. So when I did it, people, it was normally game over. If you get a reputation, if you get a tiny reputation in the town that I come from, you get hunted. There's always someone out there that's ready to take the next big thing, next so-called hard case out. I never wanted to be anything.
Wayfarers Arcade was formerly Burton's Arcade and was built by John Plummer in 1895 at Leyland Arcade. For a time it belonged to Cambridge University, bequeathed to them by Mr. Plummer. In the 1970s, a 10-year programme of restoration was started, with assistance from Sefton Council and the Historic Buildings Council, and in 1980 it won a Premier Award for conservation in the North West.
I was dead against drugs. I didn't really do anything drug-wise. I'd probably be early 20s. A lot of people were out doing acid. It was the acid era. Me, I wasn't interested in it. I was more interested in drinking and girls. I remember I had a Cerruti suit on at the time when I was probably 23. The Cerruti suit cost me like 600 quid. So I was well dressed, shirt and tie, and met up with an old sort of school friend, and he asked me if I wanted to buy any E's, and I was like, well, what are them? I had this thing, I was already pissed, so I put this thing down my neck. Next thing you know, I was in a nightclub, load of rave music going on, 808 State playing, I can remember that, and next thing my jacket was off, swung round my head, and I was dancing like a mental bastard. I loved it. It was great. It was the scene to be in at the time. I went from wearing designer clothes and all that sort of stuff. Within a matter of months, I'd gone from going out wearing suits, shirts and ties, to growing my hair out, wearing baggy tops, trying different types of drugs. So I went from straight, non-drug taking to all of a sudden being like on the rave scene. You know, for instance, I went on a 5-day bender. When I say a 5-day bender, I mean a 5-day bender is not sleeping for 5 days and then disappearing for like 2 days. And the only reason you disappear is because you've been lay on a trailer chassis in your back garden in the long grass, asleep, because you've been on a bender. You know, your best mate finds you and you're lay on a trailer chassis of an old caravan in your garden, and they find you, they see what a fucking wreck you are, and the first thing you say to them is, oh, yeah, mate, just pulls a line of whiz out. And at that point your best mate says to you, I'll see you later, I don't want nothing to do with you, you're a fucking mess. So you get up, you do it, you start all over again.
Southport's first post office opened in 1832 next to Boothroyd's and moved several times. It was located in Cambridge Hall from 1875 until 1898, when it moved to its present site.
The thing that comes along with the dealing side of it is violence. Getting accosted inside your own premises by four guys who've come to take all your gear. You've got a chair leg, you're about to give them a beating with it. You make the mistake by hitting the wall instead of them. They get one over on you, they hit you on the top of your head with a quarter of a paving flag, and you're on the floor. Then you take a good kicking. I can remember after that kicking that I got, there was blood splattered up a wall. It looked like a fucking horror movie. My partner at the time just sort of took one look at what was going on, and she was horrified. Me, I wasn't fazed. It was a fact of the job that I was doing. It was a fact of life, of the way I was living. It's a simple thing.
But once, most of this side of the street was taken up by private dwellings, some of which still remain, pleasant reminders of the past.
I think they'd probably be called terrorist tactics nowadays. You'd kidnap someone, you'd put them in the back of a Land Rover, take them out to Southport Beach. You might torture them a bit, you might give them a bit of a kicking. They wouldn't know where they were. It'd be dark, middle of the night, 2 miles out on the beach in a Land Rover. Take them out there, take their pants off. Once they've got no pants on or no shoes on, they're a bit like a vicious dog with no jaw. You know, if they're outmanned, outgunned, they're vulnerable. You stick them in, you stand them in 2 inches of petrol in a drip tray off a car. Show them a Zippo lighter. All you have to do is smell the petrol. See that they're stood in a tray when you take the pillowcase off their head. And all you've got is a torch pointed in the face. They tell you they're going to pay you. You go, yeah, all right, I'll let you off. And then you set them on fire. You set their feet on fire. You make them dance in the dark. You see orange flames dancing up and down. You drive away and you leave them. You live your life in a massive lie. The lie can only be exposed by somebody who cares for you and only wants good for you. Luckily, I met a woman that saw the lies of the parasites around me, and because she's a strong personality, guided me in the ways of getting away from the parasites, and that was to basically get me to move away from Southport.
Fortunately, it's now a conservation area, and thus we hope its timeless beauty, its elegance and charm may remain so in the years ahead. Time now to relax with a refreshing drink or ice cream and reflect upon what we've seen during our walk, and bask in the living history of what was once a mere trackway in South Hawes, and today is Southport's famous Lord Street, a gentle mile.